Welcome to the Odds Breakers, number one place for shared, sharp betting information.
Hello, fans. Welcome back to Podcast 61-18. I'm your host, Kiev O'Neil. You can tweet me at the Public Dog, or you can tweet us at the Odds Breakers. We have a great show for you today, my friends. It is College Football Championship Week, NFL Week 13, and this is the week that we figure out who is going to be in the college football playoffs. This episode is being sponsored by mybookie.ag. Should you need to bet some of these games and need another sportsbook with different lines, please visit mybookie and use the promo code TheOddsBreakers for a one-time 50% bonus. Should you like to help us out with our costs, we would love to help you out. Please visit theoddsbreakers.com and become an Oddsbreakers member for $12.99 a month and get our picks before the line moves, as well as our premium picks. And for $2 more, be a patron subscriber and also get our podcast a little bit early. Sometimes it's a lot early, like our NCAA basketball one. It was like 4 days early. If nothing else, please visit theoddsbreakers.com and become a free picks newsletter subscriber. If you are a handicapper and would like to contribute to the Odds Breakers, get your name out there, please contact us from the website, theoddsbreakers.com/contact us. Would love to hear from you. Let's get into these college football playoffs. Man, exciting time of year. And right now, I believe the selection committee has it Alabama first, Clemson second, Notre Dame third, Georgia fourth, Oklahoma fifth, Ohio State sixth, Michigan seventh, UCF eighth, Florida ninth, and LSU 10th. So basically what they're trying to say is Georgia is great, but they're going to play Alabama, and one of these, if Georgia wins, well, I'll tell you this, if Georgia wins, that's really bad news for Ohio State and Oklahoma fans. But they're just basically saying Oklahoma right now has the edge on Ohio State. Well, this is wrong, first of all, and it's not hard to see that it's wrong. We discussed this last year. If you look at Vegas power ratings, it's wrong. I mean, my power ratings personally are Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Georgia, Michigan, then Oklahoma, Penn State, West Virginia, and Mississippi State. I don't know how Florida's in the top 10 here. I have no idea how that is. But, well, I do know how that is. There's some influence of some very powerful people in the media that happen to have a significant monetary influence on the SEC network, but we don't need to go down that rabbit hole. But the correct power ratings are not what is A, more deserving, or B, what the committee wants in. The committee is going to give it to the most deserving minus the smaller conference, Central Florida, right? I mean, that's just how it is. You know, so even though a lot of power ratings, mine actually is unique because I actually have Notre Dame fourth. Most of them have like Notre Dame around 7th or 8th. And these are some from very sharp people. If you look at team rankings and Sagarin out there, let's see what Sagarin has. So Sagarin has it Alabama, Clemson, Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, Oklahoma. See, they have Ohio State 2 spots ahead of Oklahoma, and then Notre Dame at 7th. Okay? Mississippi State 8th, Penn State 9th, Washington 10th. Florida is 19th. Okay? And this is from a much better statistical, use of figuring out who the best team is, rating strength of schedule, explosive plays, defense, yards per point, yards per play, everything, rather than a bunch of people that know little about football getting together and deciding who the best teams are. So, like we said before, college football playoffs are not about the best teams. So I'm going to go over a couple things. For me, if there was no bias and you could only have 4 teams, which I hate, I think it needs to be a minimum of 8, the Power 5, and then maybe the best of the group of 5, and 2, wild cards, whatever. But without bias, I have the playoffs as Alabama, Clemson, Central Florida, and Notre Dame, right, as of today, because those are the undefeated teams. And unfortunately, maybe they're not the best teams because they don't line up with people's power ratings, but neither does the committees. And secondly, the playoffs should be more about not just finding out who the best team is, but it should be to find out who is the most deserving, meaning who didn't lose a game the last couple years. You also have to prove who's not the best team. So that's why you have to stick Central Florida in there and possibly watch them get whooped up because they didn't lose. Okay. And unfortunately, the system is too small to do this. So they leave people out and piss a lot of people off, cause a lot of drama. And I think it's completely unnecessary. So my top 4, I think the committee should have, with bias, meaning I would leave Central Florida out, which I just said you shouldn't, but Alabama, Clemson, Notre Dame, and Ohio State. Sorry, Sooner fans, but Oklahoma ranks 99th on defense in points per game, 32.8, and they rank 103rd, allowing 6 yards per play, and yards per play 103rd. That's worse than a ton of group of 5 teams, And don't tell me there's Big 12 defenses that, don't tell me they're all like that, because Iowa State is a lot higher on defense than Oklahoma. Okay? So the Big 12 is not good on defense, and we know this, but there's defenses there that exist that are okay. So if you look at Oklahoma from a non-conference standpoint, they played a bad Florida Atlantic team that just barely made a bowl game, a really bad UCLA team, and they played Army. They played Army and almost lost to Army, had to go to overtime. Okay? And there's one more key thing that I think Ohio State is ahead of Oklahoma. It's the fact that the whole Texas deal, well, Ohio State did struggle against Maryland, and it was a look-ahead spot, as you could see, to Michigan. But Maryland beat Texas for the second year in a row, and Oklahoma lost to Texas. So there's your kicker right there that gives you the argument of Ohio State being listed ahead of Oklahoma. Plus, I guess, you can always say Oklahoma made it last year, but that shouldn't necessarily be your reasoning, right? Possibly maybe your tiebreaker. Now, what if Georgia just happens to beat Alabama in a close game here? Or even if it's not close. What if Georgia wins? Okay? Well, unfortunately, they would have to leave out Ohio State and Oklahoma just because of the rankings bias, putting those SEC teams in your top 10. Okay? They would do that, which is a absolute travesty because you do not know if Ohio State would blow away any of these teams or beat them well. And you don't know what Oklahoma can do, right? But having two from the same conference, the exact same teams, just might happen again. Actually, three of the same teams. Clemson was in there last year, right? So that could actually happen again. Now, for some reason, if the committee notices how terrible this would be for the dignity of college football, how terrible would it be for the rest of the nation watching this college football, and how awful it would be to the integrity of the whole committee itself, and they decide to put in Oklahoma or Ohio State in, Tim Tebow may get on the podium and start crying. So, to me, that might be worth it. Because last year, when he thought that Alabama was going to be left out, you can see his eyes get really red. Him shouting as loud as he can into the microphone. So that could very well happen if Georgia beats Alabama and Alabama gets left out. Let's get into this week's games. All right, we first have Ohio State versus Northwestern. Northwestern 13.5 points getting. 14 right now. We did it when we gave the bet out. It was 13.5. Well, this game falls about right where my power ratings are. But you got to look at the situation here, in my opinion. I think this one has a very good chance of history repeating itself. In Urban Meyer's minds, he thinks that if they do not blow out the Wildcats, and for some reason, if Oklahoma blows out Texas, they may not make it to the national championship playoffs. Well, if Oklahoma blows out Texas, they might not anyway. But if Oklahoma barely wins or loses, Urban Meyer has a shot here to get in. He needs style points here. He's going to be instilling this into the minds of his players. Now, Northwestern was a solid team this year, but they caught a lot of people by surprise. It worked out quite well for them scheduling wise, but there's something really strange about this team. I think they might be the luckiest team here. They didn't even win a non-conference game, losing to Akron. Lost to Notre Dame, of course. And Duke, that's the other one. They lost to Duke 21-7 at home. Okay. So that's really strange. The other strange things is looking at some of the statistics. They only average 4.6 yards per play on offense, and they give up 5.5 yards per play on defense. I mean, I've never seen anything like this. Playing for a Big Ten Conference Championship with a minus 0.9 net yards per play difference. It's crazy. If you net it against Ohio State's 6.7 yards per play on offense and 5.8 on defense, the Buckeyes also have about a 1 yard per play advantage over Northwestern. Now, Ohio State is only second to Oklahoma in yards per game, 544. And apparently, looking at last week, they can turn up their defense